Yo, what's good, guys? So this is a requested video. This is a question I get constantly, pretty much every time I stream. Sometimes it's under videos. Sometimes it'll be a tier list video, and somebody will want to know on a lot of the early gameplay videos and like the how to hit videos. A lot of people want to know what's the setup, what controller do you use, what monitor do you use to hit 1,000 rating to have the rank record that you do. You can see we are 56-3. Probably shouldn't have lost 3 games, to be honest, but it does happen. You do slip. You're not always on top of your game. So what is the setup? So the monitor I will link in the description below if you are curious. Any monitor that supports 1080p at a 120 hertz refresh rate will work fine for MLB The Show. Lower than that is also fine, but you're going to be at a slight disadvantage. I would say if I had to rank what was important to being good in the show, monitor would be number one. What controller you're using would be number two. Whether or not you're on a next-gen console that supports those higher refresh rates is number three. It's not nearly as important as the other two. If you can take care of the other two, then having a next-gen console that does those higher frame rates is more of a luxury than a necessity. So we'll get started. Monitor will be linked below, but I'm sure there's plenty of other monitors, more expensive, less expensive, that you can go with. But this is just the one I like. It's a good size. I feel like I play really well on. So the controller I use is a default old Xbox controller. That is very important because although they may look about the same to a lot of you guys, they are not. You do not want to be using one of these new Xbox controllers if they have the hexagonal D-pad and the share play button, and if the thumbsticks have that, like, I don't know what the term is, crocheted, whatever, like pattern on the outside of the thumbsticks. That means it's a newer Xbox controller, and it will not work as good for the show. If you need proof, I'll hop in custom practice real quick. Just something to mention real quick. An Elite controller also will work. You can see I do have an Elite here. It's not a share button, it's a slide to change profiles. An Elite would work if you wanted to remap like your swing button or something to the paddles on the backside or something like that. Then in theory it could let you be a little better with your timing, but that's not something I mess with. So the main thing that having a messed up controller or a newer controller can affect is your pitching, right? I know the circle change is a pitch that a lot of beginners find as extremely hard to throw with pinpoint, and some of that is because it is a hard pitch to throw, but some of it is because of the controller you're using. So I'm going to try my best, cold, haven't played it all today, to throw a circle change. Obviously that was not the best. There we go. It's basically a completely perfect circle change. Now we're going to change controllers real quick for you guys. So now we are on the newer Xbox controller, and you're going to see you already see a difference. You see how skippy it is when I'm moving the pitch. And if that's what your pinpoint looks like, throwing a circle change, splitter, any pitch that has a loop in it, it's because you're on one of these newer controllers with the newer firmware. As you can see, it is possible to still pitch with these, but you have to be much more dialed in, much more consistent. And even then, sometimes you'll get what I call a half pull, like that. That's good timing. Where it registers you stopping the stick, so it doesn't take the input of you dragging down all the way, and then it's going to be a horrendous pitch no matter what you did in the other parts. So that's really big. If you're getting these skinny lines, if it's jumpy, if you consistently get half pulls, it's probably because you are on a newer Xbox controller. Something about the firmware, I do not know when Microsoft updated the firmware on their controllers to make the sticks act the way that they do, but it's not good. If you do have an older controller like this, whenever I need a new MLB The Show controller, I go on Amazon and I try my best to find old Xbox controllers. Typically, they're more expensive and they are getting very hard to find at the moment. So, a good third party controller could also work. Or if you want to dole out $200 for an Elite controller, you can also do that. But if you do have one of these and you have updated it to where it has that issue with the sticks, because it is a firmware issue, not a like mechanism issue. There is nothing actually wrong with the sticks. It's the firmware that the controller uses. You can reset it. I'm not going to walk you through in this video how to do it. You can probably find a different YouTube video from somebody or contact Microsoft support. You used to be able to do it by going to like the help section somewhere. There's a help section. I don't know if it's in the Xbox accessories or not. But you used to be able to go to a help section. You can see this is the firmware that this controller is running on. I could update it. I'm not going to. It will mess it up. So as far as I know, this is the latest firmware you can have without it doing that. You used to be able to go to like Xbox support on your Xbox, navigate through the FAQs, and there would be an option to reboot your controller to factory settings. I don't know if it's there anymore. It might be, it might not be. Otherwise, you will have to do it through your PC or get a new Xbox controller, a new old controller. Otherwise, we have the Elite controller. It does a lot of the same things on MLB. So you see, we have our circle change, and that's perfectly smooth. That is like great. That's exactly what you want. It's the exact same as an old Xbox controller. And you achieve that by going to your Xbox accessories, hitting configure, and you can see we have edited our sticks a little bit. So you're going to come to edit, you're going to go left stick, you're going to go smooth, and you're going to turn the curve all the way down. This is going to make it behave like a normal Xbox controller. Me personally, I don't love the Elite because I'm not used to it. The sticks are a little heavier, they're metal, but it is a little smoother if you can get used to it. If you already play games with an Elite controller like Rainbow, Call of Duty are big ones for Elite controllers. It should be no problem for you. But yeah, just turn your Elite controller to smooth and you'll be great. It will work the exact same as an old Xbox controller. Otherwise, you will have to find a Xbox One controller or reboot your firmware in one of those controllers if you have updated it recently. But yeah, guys, that is a huge thing that can be holding you back in MLB The Show that a lot of people don't know about. As far as I know, I'm the only one that knows about this. I figured it out last year. I did not figure out the Elite thing until this year, but I knew there was something wrong with the firmware. Don't know why Microsoft did it, but they did. And it sucks for MLB. I don't think they're going to change it because it's just MLB. It's just one game out of every game on Xbox. So, in general, if you're on PlayStation, I would focus more so on your monitor and stuff. PlayStation controllers work just fine. Xbox, you either need to find a new third-party controller that will work, reprogram your Elite controller, or reset your old Xbox controller, and you should be good. Should be so much better. I've had a couple people that I have coached that, they found pinpoint way too hard, and over half of it was just they were using a new Xbox controller, and it was really jumpy and hard for them to get the hold of. But with a good controller, a proper controller, it's really not that hard. It just takes some practice. Yeah, so that's it, guys. If I can find an Xbox controller, I will link it. I don't know if I will be able to, but the monitor I do use will be linked in the description. Real quick before we get out of here, if you guys do have a monitor or a TV that supports a higher input, you're going to come to your Xbox settings, TV and display options. Go to your resolution. You cannot do 1440p with a high refresh rate. That might just be because of my monitor, or it might be because you just can't do it. So if you want that higher refresh rate, you're going to have to be on 1080p at 120. You may have to, I have mine on HDMI, my color depth is normal, my color space is normal, and this is what this looks like. Maybe if you have a 4K monitor, if you want to shell out the extra money, you can have some of that other stuff enabled. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's the setup. That is the secret that might be holding you back in the MLB The Show. And I appreciate everybody for watching. If this was helpful, which I imagine it was for a lot of people, feel free to like and subscribe. Peace.